opportunity in 2015 to begin your work with Dr. Estes. You've had some interesting experiences with that, including something in the last 6-8 months. Would you like to share that?
Certainly. Well, for those who are familiar with Dr. Estes' work, and specifically her book, Women Who Run with the Wolves, when she decided to teach to that, and part of what these trainings are with her is to gift us with a deeper insight and understanding into the stories, the fairy tales in her book, so that we can facilitate gatherings, so that we can begin to really strengthen, in a sense, and make sure that we're in touch with the deep feminine, with the wild woman archetype. So I have done some circles where, I brought some women in and started doing that. And what really struck me so strongly one day, as the climate in this country has gotten so challenging, is it was how often do we think, what can I do? What can I do? How can I make a difference? How can I really let my voice be heard? And as a woman, I literally went, what I can do is get this kind of information out there. I can gather women together. We can begin to really reinforce the strength of that feminine archetype, that we have a voice, that we are a wild woman, that we stand strong, and that we will be heard. And to remember that it's our birthright. It's.
I'm sorry. If you wouldn't mind, I would love to hear your pieces on what is the significance of tapping into these fairy tales? How does it draw out the remembering of and the reinforcing of the wild woman?
Well, a lot of the fairy tales are, there's a certain shaping to them. And the ones that we've looked at so far, it is, where have we given our power away?
Okay.
How have we been blind to that? Where has the wounding been?
Okay.
And how do we recover that?
So give me maybe one or two common fairy tales where you could pinpoint those things, so that our sisters can get into this understanding for themselves. Something common.
Right. Well, the one that it's one of the first fairy tales in her book is Bluebeard.
Okay.
And Bluebeard is all about the that predator.
So Bluebeard the pirate?
Bluebeard was he was a wealthy man, and his beard was so black it was blue.
Okay. See, I don't know this one. Okay.
So it's not the pirate, but it's how he gets a young maiden to marry him.
Okay.
And keeps her, in a sense, as his it's not prisoner, but sort of out of touch with her own strength and power and autonomy, her sovereignty. And it's the process that she goes to and discovers, but he's so, he has so many fine things he can give me, and he's so charming, and, he's going to take care of me. And all the while, what happens is ultimately she finds out that he kills all his wives. And when he leaves the castle, he gives her the keys and he says, you can have anything in any of these rooms, just don't open the door with this key, the one that you have to stay out of this one room. So of course, where does she go? That she goes, and that's the one room she goes into. Her mother and sisters are there and talk her into it. And then she sees this horrid sight, that he has killed all his wives. So she has to muster her forces, and the brothers come, but it could be the sisters. It doesn't matter. It's not about gender. It's about the energetics, and that they slay Bluebeard.
So she had to gather resources first. So connecting with her sisters, connecting with her lineage, connecting with her guides, connecting with her, all of her support. It doesn't matter really who that is, but it's just her sovereignty. Okay.
And waking up. Waking up and not being fooled.
Okay.
By someone who can say all the right things, but is really there to rob your energy, to steal your power, to silence you, to limit you.
I can't write fast enough. Okay, so I just would love for us to look at, where do you see this in alive and well in the psyche of women? Because this brings me, especially to the castle piece, this brings me to the princess and to the damsel in distress archetype. Where would Dr. Estes put this, or Dr. Conforti?
Well, this is, in a sense, she's the innocent maiden.
She's the innocent maiden.
Who hasn't developed her own wisdom and warning bells.
Okay.
that she can be lured by the charm. It's like, the big bad wolf in Red Riding Hood, or whoever it is that is got the right sort of external presentation.
Suave.
When really they're there to imprison you.
Interesting.
Whether it's steal your voice, disempower you, anything in our world that interferes with our becoming and knowing our own sovereign self.
So this could be everything. This could be, it doesn't necessarily have to be, someone who is, engaging with a man. It doesn't necessarily have to be a man. It could be a job. It could be, I guess it could be parents. It could be just society's expectation of women.
Absolutely.
This is everywhere. Okay.
Where is there, sort of like a door in your castle that you don't want to open and go in? Where is that? Where might there be a wounding? Where might there be a back door that energy can come in that dishonors expression?
Okay. And then,
it steals from you.
It steals from you. Okay. So I just wonder, how do we look at the wounding in a place of, like, okay, so she opens the door and she sees this horrific reality. She is awoken to the reality that this man, or we'll say man, but this could just be any energy, right? This archetype, is stealing from her, or wants to imprison her, wants to take from her. How do we, because this is how I look at wounding, there are gifts involved here. So if we are looking at the big global awakening of women right now, would you agree with Dr. Estes, would Dr. Conforti agree that if we go into that room and awaken to what is really happening in our lives, it is the greatest gift that we can give ourselves and give our sisters, because now we are awake to the thing that is really imprisoning us, and we can make better choices. Does that follow along the work of, maybe Dr. Estes would follow along with that in her trauma work? How does that sit?
Well, absolutely. And it's interesting in the story, because what happens after she tries to hide the fact that she opened that door.
Oh.
she's afraid.
Uh-huh.
But the key starts bleeding. And she puts it in her pocket, and it stains her dress. She cannot unring the bell.
Right, right.
So the awakening has happened, and you can't go back to sleep.
And this, tell me if you agree, this is what I see is happening for women right now. And this is what I feel that your work, the work that I bring, the work that, all the medicine women who are alive, who are awake, who have been doing this work are really, really being called to support and handle and hold and allow this continued awakening, this continued resolution of remembering and becoming that sovereign woman for ourselves and for our sisters and for our world. Would you feel the same way?
Oh, absolutely, Erica. And if I may digress just a touch,
please,
because I do work with the planetary frequencies. My tuning forks and gongs are tuned to the planetary frequencies, which is a whole nother story. And there's information about that on my website.
We'll get there in a second. We'll get there. Yeah.
But part of what's also occurring right now from an astrological standpoint, and a quick aside, you have to understand that astronomy and astrology were brothers and sisters. They both came to be in the same time. It's sort of been, astrology has sort of become the, something that's been shunned because it's not been understood and it's been abused. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the real information on it was lost over the centuries. Mm-hmm. So there's a resurgence, and the work that I've done really focuses on archetypal cosmology. So really understanding the archetypal significance of these planets. So you may or may not have heard from a planetary standpoint that we've been going through a Uranus-Pluto square. Mm-hmm. And the sort of the archetypes of that placement, and it's a stressful aspect. And Pluto is all about, he's Pluto along with his queen Persephone. So again, it's not just a gender thing. It is a frequency. That they are king and queen of the underworld and all the riches therein, all the hidden secrets, the riches, things, transformation. Pluto is death and rebirth, life, death, rebirth, transformation over and over and over. And Uranus is about revolution, liberation, insights, community, like awakening. So when you have a hard aspect like we've had between Uranus and Pluto, you have this tumultuous bubbling up, and nothing can be hidden anymore. Think about what's being revealed. There is no hiding. Things must change, and it's all about transformation and rebirth. So what's interesting, you had, back in the 60s, you had a Uranus-Pluto conjunction. And if you've ever read or followed Richard Tarnas, he wrote a book called Cosmos and Psyche. And he speaks in there about, because you think about what was going on with the feminine back in the 60s and the early 70s. And it was very much in alignment with this Pluto-Uranus conjunction. And Richard Tarnas speaks to that as a synchronous, like this arising together. And it's not, the planets don't cause this. It is a meeting of archetypal frequencies that allow for this to unfold. So he talks about it as like this perspective is about a living cosmos, not about cause and effect. Mm-hmm. And so you have this culmination of energetics that comes and is expressed, and you see it rippling out through cultures. Mm-hmm. And then it sort of goes underground, and he calls that the diachronic cycle. It doesn't go away, but there's all of this outworking that's going on as we move forward, And then we come to this Uranus-Pluto square now, and boom, it's another synchronistic